Hello, everybody. As always, thank you so much for watching. This is something to think about on the American Doofus channel, a brief Saturday update. And let's begin by we're going to cover what happened with the solar weather. The sun thankfully has quieted down a little bit, and we're going to touch on what happened with the 1776 alleged pedophile cult and those counter protesting them in Bunker Hill, West Virginia. But first, let us go to what's going on breaking news wise. And here's what we have. Liz Cheney rips into the Republican voter leadership as very sick after her defeat. That's from Fox News. The Hill says GOP Senate outlook grows dimmer amid candidate quality concerns. At least 12 killed as Somalia hotel siege enters its second day. Al Qaeda has taken hostages in a hotel in Somalia, and that has been going on now for over 24 hours. Prolific rainfall and widespread flash flooding threatens nearly 10 million. That is in New Mexico and Arizona areas. Final days of the Trump White House was chaos and with scattered documents, according to the New York Times. And judge rejects Lindsey Graham's efforts to delay testimony in a Trump probe. So that's what's happening breaking wise. Now let's get into what happened with our solar weather. Again, things are calming down on the sun, thankfully. And it looks like we're going to have a couple of weeks where we're not in as much danger. The area that was facing Earth has rotated around. It'll be back in a couple of weeks. Let's check in. There were disruptions. There were disturbances, thankfully minor and not on a wide scale.
Good morning, folks. We've got an overview of solar activity and the effects of the solar storms of the last several days, and there's a new Starforge simulation out as well. Starting with our star, it was a much calmer day. First day in about a week, there wasn't a whisper of plasma erupting at Earth. We've got more sparse CMEs heading our way from the last 2 days, but this geomagnetic impact event is waning as the flares do. We took one of the sparse CME impacts yesterday, and it did reignite the geomagnetic storm conditions briefly, but only at low levels. As we run through just a sample of the electrical and system issues that occurred during the last couple days, like the malfunction in the cosmonaut suit during the initial CME impact, know that it appears there was a 5 to 10x uptick in electrical issues, like electrical fires and explosions, system outages like Netflix had, etc. This is what we see all the time during geomagnetic storms, and it was the biggest uptick in geomagnetic activity in months. And since the early part of the year, we've been pointing to mid-August as the next uptick. As these active regions traverse the sun and come back around in 2 weeks, we'll have another good chance for more activity. But just know that this model for predicting the sun's outbursts really works.
So there you go. A few of the things, a few of the impacts. It's still going to be impacting our weather, and we can't do a whole lot about that, to be honest with you. We'll still have impacts over the next 2 days as far as what's happening weather-wise. So everything kind of tying in. We talked about the unusual storms going on in Arizona and New Mexico. We've talked about the how the solar activity impacts our weather, impacts possibly earthquakes, volcanoes, as well as human nature. And we've seen all of those things, or we could possibly see all those things. Now, here's a look at the northern lights from Minnesota. This was from Wednesday, and you'll see the impact not only on the sky, the colors in the sky, but also the electromagnetic impact from the lightning.
Celebrate Black Business Month with Magenta Edge.
Oh, great. Okay. Let's try this again and give you a look at the northern lights from Minnesota. And again, you'll notice the colors, but also notice the incredible electricity manifesting itself in the form of lightning. So while very few people on Earth were aware of what was actually happening, we are able to see the impacts. And as the magnetic field gets weaker and as solar storms become stronger, those impacts will indeed be greater. So while we got lucky this time, not a lot of major impacts, thankfully. Probably the Netflix outage was the most widely felt. But in certain areas, as we saw transformers catching fire, there were impacts. And if it didn't impact you, it did not impact me, thankfully. I hope it didn't impact you. Those of you that watch the show know that we talked about that. That was always our wish. So we got lucky, and we'll keep an eye on the sun as always, but we're expecting a couple of weeks of relatively quiet. Now, in the 1776 restoration movement and their counter protests, the big news yesterday was the arrest of the right wing protester that goes by the name Defender of Ants. He is protesting the alleged pedophile cult simply because of the pedophilia. He is January 6th supporter and a far right wing representative. However, it's right wing against right wing in this situation.
You're the supervisor? Okay. Are you towing my car? I'll move it for you. My fight's not with you, man. It really isn't. My fight's not with you. I'm trying my best to give you guys as much support as I can. You know? I'll move it for you.
No, you're not detained because you're at Berkeley County.
Yeah.
You understand that?
I'm detained.
You are detained.
Okay, I want a supervisor there.
Okay, I'm supervisor. All right. Is that your vehicle? Yes or no?
I'll wait for the lawyer.
You have an ID or you got suspected of a crime, you need to provide me.
I wish I speak to my lawyer.
I'm requesting your identification
Right.
because I suspect you as a suspect of trespassing. Identification of official arrested truck.
Obstructing justice. I'll wait for my lawyer. My hands behind my back.
Your identification.
I'm waiting for my lawyer.
Okay. You want to state your matter of arrest, and I do not have to provide you. It's not correct. I only have to provide you with under arrest. You're not under arrest. You're detained because you're a suspect of a crime. You understand all that?
I do not understand, no.
Okay. You're being
I'm an
suspected
idiot.
of trespassing.
Okay. I'm stopping it here for a couple of reasons. Number one, the guy Defender of Ants, his whole thing has been he is trying to build a case, a legal case against law enforcement for violating his First Amendment rights, going back to when they were in Washington, D.C., when we were covering this a lot more extensively, and they were at the National Mall. He has been trying to build a case, is what he says he's been doing. He just said, as we have just shown, that he doesn't understand the law as explained by the sheriff. And he just said he's an idiot. Basically, he just destroyed whatever case he was trying to build.
Okay. That's unfortunate.
Not, and I'm not giving any justification to the guy being able to legitimately build a case, but it did appear that he had some legal ground to stand on up until this minute.
You're being suspected of trespassing.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm asking for your ID.
Okay.
So I can verify.
I'm waiting for my lawyer, and I'll provide anything you want once my lawyer is here, sir.
Thank you. I don't have to provide you an attorney right now.
Am I free to go?
No, no. I'm saying.
I'm not free to go. All right, I'm waiting for my lawyer then. I wish to stand up for my right to counsel here.
You have a right to cancel if you're under arrest. You understand?
Am I free to go?
You're not.
I'm not free to go. It feels like I'm not free to go. It feels like I'm under arrest.
It doesn't matter to me.
I'm waiting for counsel, sir.
That's a big cease for evidence because it has assisted us in the crime. You understand that?
I don't understand that. I'll give you permission to use my phone.
Okay, it's cease for evidence because
Gotta love that outfit. Damn, what a joke. Man, I'll tell you, karma is a move.
So that video was taken off of Defender Events live stream by Wyckoff's America. We're sharing it under fair use and copyright here on our channel. You can go to Wyckoff's America and watch the rest of that video if you so desire. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. There are a lot of videos out on this arrest. For those that follow the 1776 counter-protest drama, this basically leaves one person counter-protesting, and that is Lori Arnold, another right-wing former extremist, I would say, that has kind of changed her opinion of the far right. So she's the only one left out there protesting at the moment. Freedom Squirrel and Red Squirrel are kind of trapped in the monsoon and the flooding that is going on in the West as they are on their way to California. And as far as we know at this time, the Defender of Vance is indeed still in jail, being held. Bond has been posted, but as of this airing, he has not been released. So they are expanding. 1776 decided that they are going to form 13 different colonies. One of those colonies could be in Indiana. One of them could be in Pennsylvania. We'll keep you up to date on all of this because it doesn't appear that unless law enforcement intervenes, they're going to go away. Just giving you some things to think about on a Saturday. Look forward to being live tomorrow night, probably between 10 and 11 p.m. We'll let you know. Look for the posts. We'll give you a heads up as to when it's going to be. And we're going to be talking a little more extensively about the 1776 and the Patriot movement in its whole, as well as those counter-protesting. And we'll do that tomorrow night live right here on the American Doofus channel on Late Night America. Hope you'll join us. Thanks for watching.